Welcome, and thank you for joining me for this Scorpio full moon video. Now, to start off with, this full moon is at 4 degrees, which is the number for reliability. So this has to do with the core of who we are, the foundation of our being. And the core of who we are, the foundation, is going to be shaken this full moon. And the reason why I say that is because we have Uranus and Jupiter conjunct in Taurus. And that is a major shakeup. Now, I wrote back in 2023 when I wrote my blog, I said that this would be a major shakeup on the world stage. And indeed, we're seeing a huge events happening on the world stage in the last couple of weeks. Well, within the last week. And this Jupiter and Uranus conjunction was exact on Saturday going into Sunday. And so those were the moments where this earth shake-up energy was really strong. And if you had anything happen during those time periods, reflect on that, because that's going to come up with this full moon. It's part of this full moon. The energy has already started. And this is going to be the crescendo of that energy. Now, this is a balanced chart. It has both bitter and sweet aspects, but they don't really cancel each other out. So the thing is that what aspects we have happening in this chart are not that fun. Pluto in Aquarius is the real stickler, as though telling everyone not to be selfish. He is square both the sun and moon, giving the main negative aspects in this chart. So Pluto in Aquarius is kind of the wet blanket. Basically, Pluto is saying, I don't want any of this collectivism. I don't want any of this groupthink. I want to have the individuality. And so we have this situation where collectivism and individuality are going to be challenging each other. And individuals are going to be challenging each other. And we're going to see a real clash when it comes to groups and fighting in amongst each other in groups. Now, I already mentioned that Uranus and Jupiter are conjunct in Taurus. And so this is again amplified chaos on the world stage. But we also have Mars in Aquarius, which is actually having some positive aspects during this full moon. It's sextiling the Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. So our willpower is what's creating the chaos on the earth plane. And so it really is this desire. So desire is really what's causing this shakeup, this challenge to the core of who we are, to our reliability. It is desire that's driving this wedge between us and others. And that martial energy, that war energy, is really what's causing this to happen. And we're seeing that on the world stage. It's so obvious right now. Now, I also said back in 2023 when I wrote my blog that the fear would be at an all-time high. And that's because Black Moon Lilith is the busiest of all the planets in this chart. And now Black Moon Lilith is not actually a planet, she's actually a point, but I do think that she is very significant because I've always noticed that her influence is very strong on charts when she has a lot of aspects. And right now she's opposing Neptune and Mars in Pisces, and she is supporting the inflated chaos of Jupiter and Chiron in Taurus. And so she's basically got positive aspects to Jupiter and Uranus. So that tells me that whatever is happening on the world stage is causing a lot of fear. And she's opposing Neptune and Mars in Pisces. And Neptune in Pisces is that dreamlike quality. So it's very hard to ignore what's happening on the world stage. It's very hard to ignore what's happening in the outer world right now. It is definitely being talked about. It's being discussed. It is a huge aspect of our lives. And so this is definitely a full moon where we're facing our greatest fears. We are challenged to overcome those fears and really step up to our new level of being, to a new way of life. Now, the good news or the bad news, depending on your perspective on things, is that for my oracle stone for this full moon, I pulled blue Lemurian calcite. And blue Lemurian calcite is the stone for releasing fear. So that tells me that this is going to be an actual positive experience, that once we have dealt with this fear of what may happen, we're actually going to release it. We're not going to hold on to it anymore. And so while we may come up to the cusp of World War III, we're probably not going to go over the precipice. There's no guarantee here, but at least at this time, we're not going to go over that precipice. Whatever the fear is that we are facing in our personal individual lives, we're most likely going to overcome it and be able to move on, because this is a stone to release fear instead of holding on to it. As long as we hold on to fears, whenever we hold on to negative emotions, they grow. So really recognizing them, say, okay, that is a fear that I have, and then releasing it is the best way to deal with fear. And so then we're being challenged in this full moon to do this. Those fears, those negative energies and emotions are being dredged up out of our shadow and is confronting us, and we need to overcome them in order to move on and grow as an individual. Now, challenges are always a positive thing because they make us grow. Without challenge, we wouldn't grow. And so every time we face and overcome a challenge, we actually become a better individual, and we become more individuated because we have new experiences that have taught us more about ourselves. And so every time we have a challenging full moon like this, we have an opportunity to grow. And I encourage people to take that opportunity and run with it. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I know it's short. I know I didn't have a picture of blue Lemurian calcite, but I'm kind of